The basics of energy conservation are to control and coordinate breathing with activities, reduce strenuous movements, sit where possible to perform activities, take frequent breaks, and plan and prepare your day. Coordinated breathing activity decreases energy expenditure and prevents breath holding. It is fundamentally similar to blow as you go. You ask them to breathe in before they start the activity and breathe out as they complete it. This can be done during activities such as sit to stand, so breathing in and out as you stand, and doing any activity which involves overhead movement, so putting things into a cupboard, so breathing in and out. And activities such as lifting, so take a breath in before you start the activity, breathe out as you bend down, and then as you're coming back up again, take a breath in and breathe out as you come up. We want to reduce any activity which adds a load on the muscles. OTs can provide your patients a lot of support in this area, providing them with adaptive equipment and advice about how to adapt their ADLs. Types of OT equipment may include a perching stool, a helping hand to reach objects which are high up in cupboards, and even something like a kettle tipper, as the act of using a kettle actually uses a lot of energy. We can give them such advice, such as buying pre-prepared vegetables rather than spending the time chopping them themselves. However, do be aware of the financial implications of this. A bag of onions would cost over £1 as compared to the individual onion, which might only cost 10 pence. It can be worth discussing with your patient about reorganising their kitchen and where they keep their everyday utensils. If you look here, the amount of time it takes to move around the room to collect a few plates and a cup. However, there's probably a better option for this. So consider suggesting to your patients to keep all these utensils together in the one place on the worktop. Another daily task that requires a lot of energy is using a towel after a bath or a shower. Instead of using a towel, you can suggest using a toweling dressing gown to your patients. Another way to lighten the load on your patients is that you could discuss that the patient wants to share the load of their housework. This can be with family, their partner, or external support. This may seem like an easy win, however, it can change household dynamics considerably. Patient may be very resistant to this, as they may wish to retain their independence. Something else we may wish to consider is the load in which patients are carrying. So this can be things like what they're carrying in baskets and how far they fill the kettle. Ask your patients to consider carrying less, or can they split the journey up over a few times a day. So with carrying laundry up the stairs, do it in fewer smaller loads over the day. With things like the kettle, only fill it with as much water as they need, as this will be less load on the patient. Standing uses considerably more energy than sitting. Try to decrease standing activities. For example, sit while doing the ironing. And consider a referral to OT for things like a perching stool or a shower chair. This would allow your patients to sit while showering, chopping vegetables, doing hair and makeup, and ironing. Pushing into breathlessness may take longer for your patient to recover, so it's important to take regular breaks and to allow them to recover. We can use the Borg scale to help educate our patients with that. You don't want them to get to the point where they can't say more than 1 or 2 words, so equivalent to a 3 or 4 on the scale. At this point, they should stop and recover using techniques such as breathing control to help them to regain control of their breathing. When out walking, you can suggest that the patient stops and gets into one of the positions that will help ease their breathlessness. They can then practice breathing control. If they're anxious about this, they may think that people are looking at them. You may suggest that they want to look in a shop window, look at a mobile phone, or for ladies, they can look in their handbag. We are trying to break the cycle of anxiety and breathlessness. If we can get the patients to stay in control of their breathing, they are less likely to have the physical changes like chest tightening and increased heart rate. This means your patients will be able to do a lot more and it won't take them as long to recover. Plan and prepare means challenging your patient about what needs to be done and when. Your patient's expectation can lead to frustration, so they need to be able to set achievable goals. Challenge their old habits and get them to ask themselves, is it essential that this task is performed in the usual way? They should plan for their rest breaks and interruptions, so planning that things should take longer. Break jobs into smaller steps and prepare and prioritise. Use a diary to help plan daily, weekly and monthly tasks. Put items where they can be easily found. As I said before, this could be something as simple as keeping all of their plates on the work surface. Timing of activities is also important. Is it possible for them to split up the larger tasks such as hoovering? So do they need to hoover the whole house on a Monday, or can they hoover a room per day, or even better, can they delegate that to somebody else? As you can see with energy conservation, it's basically a series of hints and tips. Your patients can decide what works for them, and they will have their own way of working things. In pulmonary rehabilitation, delivering this education session was always one of my most enjoyable, as the patients would always share hints and tips with each other.